Hi, welcome back. In this session, we are going to discuss about variables in Python. Variables are nothing but a placeholder, or in a simple word, we can say a container for storing data values. For example, we can say this is a small container. I have a box, and I can use that box to store some books. I can call it as a bookcase, or I can use to store some apples or fruits. A fruit basket. I can use it as a fruit basket. So the box can be called depends on the thing it stores. Similarly, in Python also we can say the box we can replace with a small part of a memory, and that memory we can give a name X. And in that X, I am storing a value simple, and simple is nothing but this is a string. So we can call it as this variable now become a string. Or there is the same variable or the same memory we can store later a float number, a float value 50.5. So this again become a float. This variable become a float, and again I can rewrite it with a integer, a 25, a integer 25. So this x, the variable x, can be a integer. So this is a simple example of a variable in Python. So this is the name we can give to the variable. Any name, not only x. I can give any name x, y, or a, b, or a name variable, a new variable like any name I can see, and I can store any values inside. We'll just have a look how we can write it that in Python. So I'm writing x equals. I'm giving simple simple. This is the word. Now I am printing x, print, print x, then it will show what it stores. It is nothing but it's storing a string value print simple. Now we will check what type of data this is. So that is that type comma x. So when we are checking, the x is now become a string. It shows that it's a string because the variable is actually storing a string. Very similar to this. If I'm storing a book, it will call as a bookcase. If I'm storing an apple, or can be called as a fruit basket. Same concept here. If I am storing a string, it will be a string. The variable can be a string. If I'm storing a float, it can be a float. And if I'm storing an integer, it can be a integer. So here now first we stored a word simple, a string. So that variable type when we check it's showing that it's a string. Now in the same variable I'm storing a different value. For example 50.5, a float value. Now I'm giving print x. What it will give? It will give a float value that is 50.5 which we stored here in this variable. Now I am checking the type. What type x is? Now it become a float. Why? Because we stored now a float value to that variable. Earlier we stored a string value here. So when we are checking the type of x is showing string. Now when we stored a new value 50.5 is a float. Now the type is showing float. Now similarly if I am storing another value x equals 50, that is nothing but an integer. So I am run this column and I am typing x, print x. So when I run this column it will show 50. So that is nothing but it is a integer. Now I am checking the type. So type, data type of x, now it is an integer. That is all about the basics of variables. Now we will see the override property of a variable. For example, initially we given a value simple, simple. Now when we are checking x, it is simple. We know it shows a display the value simple. If I'm again rewriting that with a new value, suppose I'm Python, a new string, and I run that line. And for running, I'll give a shortcut Shift Enter in a Jupyter notebook. And sorry, one more thing, this can be run in any IDE like a traditional Python IDE or Pycharm or VS Code or any one of the IDEs. You can write the same code. But here I'm using the Jupyter notebook to for display the notes and all those things. So the same code can be run in any IDE. So now back to the point, we are just first we saved a string simple. Now we write the code x. So sorry, type print x. So what is showing print x, it is showing simple. Now again we stored another string Python in x. Now I am printing x, print x. Now it will show Python. That means the variables can store only one data type. It overrides when we store a new value, because it will replace the old value with the new one. That is the overwriting property of variable. Now the second is that variables are case sensitive. For example, I have a variable a. I can put Python in that and run this code. Now I again create another variable but with the uppercase letter A or a capital letter A, and I get simple. Now I am typing A or checking what is the value in A. So print of A, sorry, A, it will give Python the lowercase. Now I am checking the uppercase value A, it will give simple. That means both the variables are different. It's not the same. So variable names are also case sensitive, and there are other conditions also for creating a variable. We should not start with a numerical value for the variable, because we cannot give a number like a name like 11a equals Python. So that will give an error. Variable always start with a integer. Alphabet. Then after that we can give a number. If we are giving instead of 11a, it will give an error. Instead of, if I am keeping a 11, this can be used as a variable. So, and also there is a standard functions, are there comments in Python that cannot be used as a variable. So this is all about the basics of variables in Python. Next, we will be discussing about the collections in Python.